Okay, this video is going to be going over some fuel mileage stuff at different gears um, at the same speed. This is going to be primarily made for the Let's Truck Tribe members. This is something that we talk about a lot on Kevin Rutherford's show, and I think this might help explain some things. If you're not a member, go over to letstrucktribe.com and become a member. Lots of great trucking content there, lots of great information for business owners and truck owners. So what we're seeing here is just some mountain driving to take some time so I can explain the video. So one thing that we talk about a lot is the the newer Volvos. Joel's kind of the Volvo guru, and he talks about the three different gear ideas if we get the gear ratio right. We've got underdrive, direct, and overdrive, all at highway speeds. Well, highway speed, the lowest highway speed that we consider is 55 miles per hour, right? Anything under 55 is not a highway speed in most people's opinion, and I think Joel would agree with that. And so, with the super downsped engine and the very downsped drivetrain, we can get in a situation where we have three different gears, all above 55 miles per hour, that we can pick and choose from to dial in our speed, dial in our RPM, and dial in fuel mileage. Um, this will go over the PACCAR version of that, um, and this is with 264. So obviously a little different. The PACCAR is not downsped, um, or not as downsped as the Volvo, so we can't go with the 2.15 gear ratio, of course. But this video, we're going to go over direct gear and we're going to go over underdrive gear. We're not going to go over 12th gear because that's pretty obvious that 12th gear would work at highway speed, right? What we want to look at is how does direct work and how does underdrive work, all at over 55 miles per hour. So here is direct. We've switched over this video. Here's direct at about 1250 RPM. This is 56 miles per hour. And we can see down on the scan gauge. This is why I think most people should buy a scan gauge that are interested in fuel mileage, because you can dial in what works for you, and it's different throughout the day. If you have a headwind, if you have a tailwind, if you have a side wind, it might be different, and you might actually get better fuel mileage by changing speed and changing gears. But in this particular case, we're in direct. We're at 1250 RPM. I've reset the trip on the scan gauge right as starting this video. So we're looking at 9.5 miles to the gallon, 9.6. It kind of fluctuates. So what I found with the PACCAR is it accomplishes, if I can say this, it accomplishes the same thing the Volvo does, but accomplishes it in the opposite way. The Volvo accomplishes it by keeping RPM very, very low, by downspeeding the drivetrain, because the rotating assembly on the Volvo is very heavy. Therefore, it can manage the low RPM, but it also has a drain as you bring RPM up, right? As you bring the RPM up of a very heavy rotating assembly, you're going to have fuel economy drain or efficiency drain. The PACCAR kind of did the opposite, and in my opinion, it's not worse or better. It's just the opposite way to attack the same problem, and that is they've lightened everything, made it super efficient and sleek, and and able to run higher RPM without any drain. Now here we switched over to 10th gear, which is underdrive, 1630 RPM, same cruise set, 56 miles per hour, and it's kind of hard to see the gauge because of the glare, but we can see what we're doing. We've got the boost down there. We've got the percentage of load. Now, we don't recommend running this gear set and this speed on a flat ground. This is kind of designed more for climbing hills, right? But we can do it fairly efficiently. We end up finishing this at 8.4 miles to the gallon, whereas in direct we did 9.6. And so now I don't know how the Volvo would compare if we run it at 55 in underdrive. It wouldn't be 1630 RPM, it'd probably be 1250. But I suspect you'd see about the same loss of fuel mileage. You'd see about a mile per gallon loss of fuel mileage because we're overspinning that Volvo engine. In this case, we're overspinning the PACCAR engine, but the PACCAR is built to overspin. It's really built sleek and light. Everything is much easier to spin that speed. Also, the PACCAR has a 2-speed water pump, so as we spin faster, we gear down the water pump, so we're not pumping all these fluids around extra. So that's the end of the video. I hope that you guys got some information out of that. I hope I didn't make a bunch of uh, you know confusion, but that's just kind of my opinion. We'll see if Joel can comment on this and see if I got anything wrong. But that's kind of my opinion. The Volvo goes one direction and accomplishes a very, very efficient truck, and the PACCAR goes the complete opposite direction, but in my opinion, also accomplishes a very, very efficient truck. So you just have to know the difference between the two, and of course, when you're driving them, you have to understand where where you need to set the gear. And that's why I highly recommend buying the scan gauge. If you saw there, we could see all the data real time, helps you drive, helps you decide which gear to choose, and it might change throughout the day. So hope I didn't confuse everybody. If I did, just ignore it.